At the start of the episode, the group splits in half while trying to figure out how to. Outside of Moscow itself, using the map the previous hunter group commander left behind. While Zenya and Natasha are driving away in their car, Max and the others descend into an underground tunnel. The vehicle owned by Max. Zenya and Natasha's bad luck continues when their automobile suddenly breaks down and they find themselves got sidetracked in the middle. They try to locate another vehicle to utilize, but are unsuccessful. Then and there. In order to get away, Zenya tells Natasha to wait in the car. Eventually, Zenya comes across another vehicle containing a deceased female passenger. After that, he goes up to the girl and makes an attempt to grab her cash and ring. Due to unfortunate circumstances, Natasha shows up at the same time and sees him making out. When Zenya tries to propose later, but when he proposes to her and gives her the ring, she becomes furious and demands that he take it back. By doing this, when Zenya confronts him, he informs her that he is not as perfect as Sasha and that she should leave him for her better option. Together with him. After hearing this, Natasha storms off in a huff. And then, when Natasha has left, a mutant comes up to Zenya and attempts to assault him. While the mutant approaches the car, Natasha mysteriously reappears and draws it in. In her eyes, a mutation. The mutant then kisses Natasha while making an annoying noise. This has an immediate and profound effect because, in her mutant transformation, Natasha's eyes go dark and her body language changes. Zenya takes this as her chance to flee the area, but she is eventually caught and killed by the same mutant who was chasing her. Next, Valera and Max have a conversation in the tunnel. Issue of how to choose the best path. Meanwhile, as they talk, Jane is uncomfortable and keeps her mouth shut. She drops to the ground quickly, and yet, Valera has tried phoning her several times but she has not answered. Irina then hands it to her in a hurry. Shot administered intravenously in an effort to slow the spread of a virus. Conversely, Mitya returns to his hotel after purchasing a snack from the grocery bedroom and notices that there's someone else there with him. After some looking, he locates Nadia, anticipating his arrival at the moment. She explains that she's come to his room after ditching the hunter crew. Upon Mitya's inquisition, when he asks Nadia how she located his room, she says she is quite familiar with individuals in his position. Due to the nature of the discourse, the two become physically closer to one another and share some private moments. Next, Valera and continued onward into the tunnel. The party discovers a bisection. For Valera, the better option is the detour, while Max examines the map and offers a different option. The argument between the two starts now. Then Valera takes Max's rifle and aims it at him to emphasize his point. He also says that Irina will follow him and Jane because she is needed to look after Jane. Here, when Irina realizes that the lads aren't taking her seriously, she breaks down and admits that Randomsky is indeed her father. She also reveals that the previously kidnapped man provided her with accurate details regarding her grandfather's chemistry lab. When the lads find out that Randomsky is Irina's father, they are now asking her why she didn't tell them earlier. Irina responds by saying she was too timid to reveal the truth and to let them know that she never considered Randomsky to be her father. Being exposed to this, the party presses on, hoping to make it to Randomsky's lab in time to treat Jane. As they go forward, they hear the same sound again, this time produced by mutations, and conclude that they must be close by. After hearing this, the class dives into its studies with renewed vigor, looking for a way out. The rush causes Sasha to lose her footing, and she becomes separated from her friends, members of the collective. The man saves himself by emerging from a manhole and sprinting along the road. Outside, when he has progressed a little distance, he spots a mutant coming in his direction. This prompts Sasha to flee. However, mutants are encircling him from every direction. Thankfully, a young lady intervenes just in time to save him from his attacker, reaches the location and begins firing at the mutants. She also protects herself from mutations by using ultrasound. Next, Pasha is captured by Glatov's troops and taken to his headquarters office. He enters the cell and discovers Marina imprisoned inside. As soon as he saw Pasha, Marina runs to give him a hug, and Pasha tells her he's sorry for abandoning her. After a while, an employee of Glatov's arrives and aids in the group's breakout from the compound. Meanwhile, Sasha's savior girl takes him to a hidden location and has him practice using his newfound abilities. Guns. She explains to him that she can't make it across the border without his assistance. A first look. Sasha is at first hesitant to detest her, but eventually he decides to train with her. Next, Valera and the rest of the group emerge from the sewer and head to a roof, believing that this is the safest place to conceal oneself. Separating from the gang there, Max double-backs to try and locate Sasha, but he winds up being unsuccessful. Jane is experiencing the eerie sensations and the Russian woman Irina gives her another shot. After that, Valera suggests that Jane get some shut-eye while Irina and Max are having a conversation while sharing a blanket. Scene change to Dr. Glatov's laboratory, where, upon discovering his employee's betrayal, he tosses him into the mutant's chamber. Soon, Mutant Girl produces a jarring noise, which knocks him down cold. Finally, she sinks her teeth into his, slits his throat, killing him on the spot. Outside, Glatov is relaxing and taking in the scene. The next day, Pasha and Marina go to a radio station and start pleading for help. Irina. Max deduces to aid them after hearing Pasha use Irina's name on the radio. A first look. Valera is opposed to going in pursuit of Pasha and Marina, but he agrees to do so at Jane's urging. In the future, the party begins making their way through the tunnel system toward the spot Pasha specified. Nadia, Midya's hotel room partner, has a bruise on her leg, a physical location on her body, specifically her chest. She tells Midya a lie, saying that the leader of the hunting party is to blame. But in fact it appears not to be the case. Midya walks into the room, and immediately, she keeps the stunning red garment he gave her a secret, treating it like a prize. He and Nika, a biker chick, continued on toward Sasha. Journey in the direction of a firing range for target practice. Nika also demonstrates a gadget to Sasha at this point that gives off ultrasound and says she uses it to divert attention away from the mutations. Soon, Sasha hears her explain the city evasion strategy in her part, and she sets him at ease. As the scene progresses, Irina makes up her mind to visit the location Pasha had indicated. However, at first, Max assures her he would go there without Irina and that she should stay behind to take care of Jane. Irina follows him there, and they eventually meet up. As soon as they arrived at the destination, they see Pasha and decide to follow him. Instead, Valera begins a search for Max and Irina, leaving Jane alone in the cave. Unfortunately, upon leaving, he and Jane are pursued by Glatov's troops. The camera then pans to an enclosed military vehicle, where the remaining members of the gang are huddled together. Members are being rounded up. What it turns out, Pasha did as Glatov asked and brought the rest of his crew to a spot in return for guaranteeing Marina's security. After becoming outraged with Pasha, Valera realizes it is too late to take any action. Soon, when Glatov arrives, he interrogates Irina about her father. As a result of hearing this, after Irina disclaims any knowledge of the matter, he offers her gave her a time limit to respond, and if she didn't, he threatened to kill all of her pals. When Glatov steps away, the mutants swoop in and slaughter the soldiers. In the words of one of the troops, tries to get inside the military vehicle but is unable to. In light of this, the party makes it out of the building, but not before some mutants spot them. Jane approaches the mutants begging the others to escape, but Valera pulls her back in time. However, the mutants are drawn to Pasha because he is armed with a machine gun. Due to unfortunate circumstances, the rifle ran out of ammunition before he could fire at them, so he had to resort to holding a grenade instead. Under his control. Next thing you know, there's a massive explosion that takes out Pasha and the rest of the mutants around him. The group, heartbroken, quickly retreats to the neighboring library, where they will spend the night. Midya, on the other hand, looks for Nadia throughout the house and is surprised to find that she has become a mutant in the process. He tries to shoot Nadia as she approaches, but his gun jams just as she gets close. Eventually, after killing him, Nadia leaves the building to join the mutant army. In the evening, those staying at the library begin to worry that mutants would strike, and is concerned about Jean's health, as well as the state of their home. Making matters worse, Valera nods out while standing guard, and Jean can't help but worry that something bad is about to happen. She sneaks out of the building as she hears the mutants calling. Next thing you know, Jean is awoken by Valera's watchful protection. If he doesn't see her, he assumes suspects she has joined the mutants and sets out to find her. Surprisingly, the mutants don't assault him when he steps outside. Instead, they head straight for the entrance. Travel to a specific location as a group. In the midst of the group, he spots Jean and gently pulls the direction of her. Jean and Max return to the library with him with Max's assistance. While the rest of the mutants congregate near the source building, or the source of the ultrasonic waves. The subsequent scene reveals that the ultrasound signals are having negative consequences. Yes, even in the lab rats of Dr. Glitov. It appears that the test subjects are behaving oddly, having made more hormones than a human body needs. Then and there, Anatoly, Professor Randomsky's research assistant, walks into the lab in search of a rare drug, or other pharmaceutical. Eventually, Glitov is caught by the guards after they spot him on the surveillance cameras. Conforming to Glitov's directives. When Glitov sees him, he calls for the guards to take him out. Get Randomsky's whereabouts from him. While Glitov is on the walkie-talkie with the security personnel, Anatoly quickly thinks of a plan of action and escapes. Irina, meantime, takes the rest of the crew to visit her dad at work in the lab. To discover them is a constant battle, the sluggishness first, but after Randomsky opens the wooden door, enter the laboratory. However, when Valera gives the injection to Randomsky to inject into Jean, the vaccination, he tells him, is not quite ready for use. The fact that Anatoly left the house is also mentioned. In order to complete the vaccination, we need to locate the remaining ingredients. The angered Valera almost makes an attack. Max interrupts Randomsky in mid-attack. Randomsky informs Valera that the vaccine is ready at this time. The final stretch, and Anatoly has gone to retrieve the finishing touches from Glitov's lab. Next, Sasha and Nika are shown to be touching deeply. After witnessing Sasha's impressive bottle shooting skills, they make a pact to be together. Once Nika realizes what has happened, she is overjoyed. In light of this new information, she is confident that the next time she rides her bike outside the fence, Sasha can handle the security staff on duty. Valera visits Jane later that evening and discovers that her condition has worsened. Worse. Jane confides in Valera that she has recently begun to perceive the mutants' calls as threats. It's now too late. She then brings up Valera's word of honor and passes out. In the future, Valera approaches Max and demands his weapon, explaining that he had promised to kill Jane. After her mutation, she is now capable of harming anyone. Suddenly, Anatoly walks up to Sasha and Nike. Requests some assistance. As far as he is concerned, he already possesses all of the materials required to produce the vaccine. And politely asks them to direct him to the lab. Nika is hesitant to assist, but she eventually agrees too. Sasha agrees, emphasizing the importance of a vaccine for his pal. Moreover, he informs Nika of. Given that he invented the virus, the man they're visiting can almost certainly develop a vaccine. Next, Randomsky is shown apologizing to his daughter Irina for his actions. His senses pick up the sound of someone walking toward their laboratory. Quickly they figure out that the footprints belong to mutants and continue to pile up the stuff in front of the door. Fortunately, to the laboratory they go, with Sasha leading the way and Nika following close behind. A while after, Nika scares the animals away using the ultrasound once they've arrived outside the lab. To keep freaks at bay. Once Randomsky recognizes Anatoly's voice, he rushes to unlock the door. Open the door for them. Soon after, he gets to work making the vaccine. At the same time, Jane's eyes go completely black due to some unexplained phenomenon in her brain, creating a mutant out of her. Whoever is taking care of her, Valera, swiftly reaches for a weapon in an effort to halt her. Then, once the vaccination is nearly complete, Anatoly is asked to procure a vaccination for Randomsky. When Irina finally decides to look for the vaccination, Nika is threatening to kill her while she is in his pistol grip. She explains that she had to put her a member of their family to the virus, the inventor should know how devastating it is to experience such a loss. They all try to stop her, but she doesn't seem to care what they have to say. Later, we then see Irina roll the pistol behind her back as Sasha orders her to put it down, and then a shot is fired. Gunshot? When they hear this, people panic and rush to visit Valera and Jane. When they finally get there, they find Valera sitting on the floor, holding Jane's lifeless body. He brags that he made the pledge to her and that he had to keep it no matter what. While everyone else is inconsolable by Jane's passing, Randomsky proceeds to tell everyone about the affluent elite's Project Clayton to engineer a utopia adequate for their needs. Within moments, Glatov's goons show up outside the lab and demand that surrender. Randomsky locks the safe with the vaccination they made before they enter. Here, Nika has left the lab and is making preparations to carry out her escape plot. We then witness Glatov's men seize the entire party. At the same time that Glatov enters the lab, he insults Randomsky for not cooperating with him. So, he turns to Randomsky for advice on what to do next. To safely and effectively contain the mutants using ultrasound. Randomsky at first refuses to aid him at first, but later, when Glatov has Irina in his grip with a gun to her head, he gives in and brings him to location of Jane's body, her room. When Glatov inquires about the body, Randomsky explains he's been studying the virus and has made an intriguing discovery. Cleverly, for dramatic effect, Randomsky activates the air conditioning and pretends to let the virus out into the room. When Glatov learns this, he immediately begins to fear and begs Randomsky to stop. However, even after he orders Randomsky to pull over and take the kids beyond the fence, he continues on. In order to receive an injection of the vaccination stored in the vault. Since he is out of options, Glatov decides to call and requests that a van be sent to pick up everyone and take them outside the boundary. When the vehicle pulls up, everyone but Sasha climbs inside. After revealing that he has to leave the house and locate Nika. Additionally, Randomsky states his concern for ensuring his daughter's security while allowing others to do as they like. This being the case, Sasha visits Nika's home but cannot locate her there. After that, he straightaway pulls on a protective headgear and runs toward their starting point. Cross the electric threshold. Thankfully, he makes it across the bridge to meet up with Nika. On the other hand, Glatov's soldiers distribute food and water to the remaining captives. Path closed off by the hunting party. The hunter group's leader promptly orders the guards to be killed and holds hostages in exchange for their own release. He orders his troops to steal the uniforms of the elite guards and pose as if they were part of the regular force. 1. He finds out they were transferred to the opposite side of town when Valera and the others tell him. The commander orders his men to eliminate the males and keep the females as amusement. Nika arrives just in time, and after keeping the hunter group leader preoccupied for a while, she is able to successfully neutralize the threat. This time, she aims a gun at him. Sasha appears from the bushes as well, pleading with him to abandon his companions. Next, Glatov acts as if he is calling his security chief to check in and see if they have any new threats. Together with the gang, I cross the fence. This is where it is discovered that he has actually asked his guards to take out anyone crossing the border in Pinnacle's van. The van will be there in a few minutes. To the hunter group's members driving it across the border, the security officers don't waste any time and immediately open. Taking aim at the van, shoot and kill all the hunters inside, then report your success to Glatov. When they return to the original lab, Glatov informs Randomsky that his desire has come true and requests the vaccine. Unfortunately for him, Randomsky unexpectedly requests permission to contact his daughter via phone himself. Now that his guards have informed him that the members, he thinks twice before getting out and takes a revolver from his pocket after everyone else in the van has been killed, aiming it directly at Anatoly. In response, Randomsky unlocks the safe and hands him the administration of a vaccination. Accepting it with enthusiasm, Glatov injects himself with it, immediately following vaccination. When Glatov starts to feel off, he asks Randomsky about the vaccine. This very second, according to Randomsky, the vaccination contains a highly concentrated virus rather than a vaccine, leading Glatov to pass out and hit the ground. The final scene takes place where Irina and others met the hunter. They left and are crossing the border alone. Irina says she'd rather help her father and won't come. Vaccine. Everyone follows her after hearing this. Find the abandoned lab. Walking to the lab, they see several people. Mutated corpses. Arena concludes from the mutations that the ultrasound is harming them, which is why they die. However, Glitov and others die. High-ranking officials reveal their Clayton Project fiasco in this episode. A group member insists that the project was done well and that the others should wait for the results. Mutant mothers must give birth for their project to succeed. After the show, Nadia's mutant corpse walks across town, waiting for announcing the new season.